Welcome back to LVM Trade's news videos. My name's Mark, your fundamental and technical analyst. Let's have a look and see what's been happening in the forex markets. Thank you very much for coming back and tuning in. And remember to check out our Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram profiles for more up-to-date information, and also have a look at our new website, which has recently had a small refurbish and is looking quite good. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the video, and thanks again once again for tuning in. My name's Mark, and let's get stuck into it. So the coming weeks looks like it's going to be quite a lot happening in the forex market as we're waiting for the August holidays and also the non-farm payroll. Now this is really going to test the markets. We always see different movements and different asset fluctuations when this happens. It's all happening at the same time, so I think that now is pretty much a good time to be trading. So let's take a look at market sentiment and fundamental analysis. So the coronavirus, there is quite a lot of things happening. For example, in the UK, where I'm from, in Scotland, a lot of small businesses, they're not really sure if they're going to make it. Now you have the radio stations at the moment saying they want people to help small businesses, and what might be happening at the moment that we're seeing in the market is there's power fluctuations between larger businesses and smaller businesses having different power depending whether or not they are indeed selling online. So some things that we need to factor in is the Eurozone economy, which is number one, the coronavirus economic impact, and also have a look at how things like this in the market are affecting the currency pairs, such as the differences that we've seen in the euro and the USD. And as I said before, get ready for quite a lot of different trades, assets moving up and down in different directions. As quite soon we're going to have, next week we're having holiday season in August, and also the non-farm payroll. So you're going to see things happening, and it's good for us to have a look and see what assets are going to move in what direction, what's been happening this week and last week, what's coming this week, and basing that on what happened last week. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So let's kick things off with the US dollar index. The weekly price chart shows last week printed a firmly bearish candlestick, which ended the week at a new 2-year low closing price. You can see that here in the chart. The candlestick closed right on its low, which is a bearish sign. There is a long-term bearish trend as the price is lower than it was both 3 and 6 months ago. Overall, next week's price movement in the US dollar looks very likely to be going downwards. Now remember that, it looks like it's going to be going downwards. So now that we know what's happening with the downward trend, and that you could take that as a trading signal, let's have a look and see what's happening with the S&P 500 index. Last week printed a large bullish candlestick. We see this really often actually, which closed right at the high of its range at a new all-time high weekly closing price, which is really, really interesting. This is a really bullish sign, and usually a sign that the price is going to rise further over the coming weeks and months. The range of the weekly candlestick was also larger than it's been seen approximately, let's say, for the last 2 months. I haven't seen it look like this, which is another bullish sign once again, so keep note on those movements. The Nasdaq 100 Technology Index also closed at a strong new all-time high, and stocks globally also made a new high as measured by the MSCI World Index. Stock markets, and this index in particular, are likely to rise higher over the coming week. Now, once again, not speaking too much about the non-farm payroll, we know it's a big thing in the industry. We need to have a look and see what's going to be happening in the past with new records that are released, and how that's going to affect things like the AUD and the USD. So let's take a look. The Australian dollar is in a long-term bullish trend and rose again strongly last week against the US dollar, which is in a long-term bearish trend as well. So let's call it the Aussie currency. It has shown a pretty decent strength as the premier risk currency in the forex market. And here we are again seeing the strong bullish momentum in this multi-month rise. you could say here in the chart, the price ended last week at a 2-year high closing price, which is again another bullish sign. So we have to look at everything that's been happening in the market, and when we do look at things that's been happening in the market, we always really kind of have to consider the British pound and the American dollar. They are pretty much the strongest in the sector. They're arguably some people's favorite currencies. Other people prefer the euro and the USD. But the British pound, it's always been a strong currency. And let's have a look and see how that might be faring up in the coming week against the USD. So the British pound and the dollar is in a long-term bullish trend, which strengthened sharply at the end of last week, okay, against the USD. So you have to take a look at that. Which is also, the USD is in a long-term bearish trend. The pound is strengthening and it's almost a risk currency in the forex market. And here we are again seeing strong bullish momentum in the multi-month rise as the price ended last week at a 2-year high closing price, which is again another bullish sign. Okay, so if we take a look at what's been happening last week with the non-farm payroll coming up, I would say personally I think there's going to be the most movement in the S&P 500 index, but also we need to be looking at the Australian dollar and the USD, and also the GBP and the USD. So yeah, that's everything from me. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. Check out our social media pages, so you're obviously on our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Tune in again next week for more news as it happens. My name's Mark, and the pleasure has been all mine. Thank you very much.